Welcome back. This week we're talking to Donna Meador, intuitive dating coach. How cool is that? So whether you're looking, not looking, thinking about it, telling yourself you don't need to think about it, whatever it is, Donna's here to help you. She's even written a book, which she's going to show you. She even read her own book when she started dating again. How cool is this? So here we go. So, Donna, come on and tell everybody where you are, how you got started. Why did you become an intuitive dating coach?
Great question. Like life in itself is such a journey, isn't it, Beverly? Yeah, and thank you so much. It's great to be here. And by the way, thank you for your book. This, I will tell you, I will get into a little bit later what I love most about your book, and thank you for writing it. Okay. So I am in Arizona right now by way of New York and New Jersey. And I became a dating coach because 25 years ago, I was not just, I wasn't a founder at that time. I was a client and I went out dating later in life, like most of us as we go through our second or third circles, whether you're divorced or widowed. And it feels like a different world out there. What are we doing? What are we looking for? How to tell if you're on the same page? What does a scam look like? Holy mackerel. I did it all, Beverly. I was in New York City at the time, surrounded by all these amazing men walking the streets of New York, and I couldn't figure out why I couldn't find my Mr. Wonderful. I felt so alone in one of the biggest cities. And I was like, what am I doing? So as I went out to date, one of the things I realized was, first and foremost, I was not having fun. And I'm like, I think dating should be fun. And I wasn't having fun. So I started to read all the books at the time. He's Not Into You, The Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus, The Rules. I mean, I just kept reading. And I would literally implement the things that were suggested in these books. And I still came out going, okay, but I'm still not having fun. There's something missing for me. So I began to document my journey. I don't think I really understood that I would one day publish my book. I think I was just documenting it for my own resources, my own benefit, therapeutic, little journey I was on. And then what's really funny is it took me about a year and a half to discover the formula to having fun. And then I was having a ball. Oh my gosh, I was having so much fun. But I'm still writing the book. I'm still making these stories and I'm implementing all the funny dates that you can't make up into this book. And I started to see a formula. I started to see a synchronicity of things. And it was through that journey that I met and married my late husband. So we have a formula. I meet and marry this amazing man. By the way, I was networking at the time. I was not meeting him at dating socials or speed networking events. I met him in an upscale cigar lounge in New York City, the kind with the big brown leather chairs and a gorgeous view of the New York City skyline. And I never saw him coming. So this is a message for the women listening to this right now. I never saw him coming. I was networking with him. He was a debonair man, right off the boat from Italy. Although we'd been in the States for 50 years, you just never saw him without a smile and a cigar and a glass of red. He was that debonair guy. So I just thought he was a nice man. And so I would go out and network. I would meet him. I'd see him. We'd talk. And then I would leave that event and I'd go off on a date with somebody who was, younger than me. At the time, I was in my late 40s. And one day, he asked me out, like, on a date. So there was a shift, right? And I'm like, a date? Like, I was like Shrek, if anybody ever saw that. I was like, huh? And I had to figure out where that was going, because now I'm going from the networking world into this very personal relationship scenario going, okay, I don't know if I want to do this. This is different territory. And I do write about this in the book because when he asked me out, I was unclear about what he was actually asking. I was like, we're networking. Is that a date? It feels like a date right now. So we had to clarify. And it's okay to do that. So, really, my book today is a love story about how I met and married the man of my dreams. Okay? He passed away. Yeah, he passed away. When he went down, I went down. Took me, no, 8 months to 12 months to resurface. Um, and when I was ready to go out and date again, I reread my own book. I reread it. I figured it worked so well the first time. I mean, why wouldn't I want to? I had to refresh my memory. What did I do? What did I do? So that's what I did. I read my own book. I implemented the things I talk about in this book. And then I walked down the aisle again at 60 years old. Ladies, it is never too late, and it is super fun. And I always say, if you're not having a fun time dating, learn what to do to enjoy the process. Because life is about the process, isn't it, Beverly?
Exactly.
It's not about the end game. It's not about the end result, because it never gets finished and it never gets done. And now I'm an intuitive dating coach because I have such strong intuition that I decided to actively, deliberately hone the skill. And now I get to offer this gift to the ladies in my membership, Smart Dating Divas, so that they can also take advantage of my insights and my wisdom and what I've done. I've been there, I've done that, right? And I met not one, but two Mr. Wonderfuls in a row. So I think I know a thing or two.
I love that story. And I love that the way you talk about it is that you're married to two men,
It's,
and even now. I think
yes.
that's so wonderful.
It is so true. Thank you so much for saying that. I think you're picking up my psychic abilities here or my messages because I literally am writing a chapter in the Art of Connection that's due out, I don't know in how many months. And it's literally talking about my two husbands. Yeah. There's room in the heart for both. It's like if you have children, there's room in your heart for all of them, right? You don't have to pick and choose. That's an amazing gift from the universe and from God that we have the ability to love multiple people. And so most people don't talk about it that way when it comes to their husband, but you're 100% correct. Pietro is still here with me. He support me. He's my biggest fan. I have been told he's my spirit guide. Like there's just amazing correlations with that journey, and I honor him, and I'm thrilled that he's with me even now, and I can feel him even now. So it's super exciting, and Jeff feels his blessings as well. So this is true. I am married to two men because when I first met Jeff, I, like probably most widows out there, would go, wait a minute, how can I fall in love when I'm already in love? You can imagine how that would be a little bit of a conundrum, right? So,
Yes, I even remember those days from dating. You'd break up with one, and even when you break up with somebody, then sometimes it's hard, especially if you felt like you were in love, it's hard to even want to date somebody else, whether you were married or not, because you're already feeling that I was so much in love. How can I?
yeah.
And even
Yeah.
with losing a pet, I mean, frankly, it's the same thing.
100%. 100%. In fact, when my little Louigina passed away in December of 23, I could not believe how hard I grieved for 2 months. I was depressed for 2 months. It 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 was mind-boggling for me because I kept saying I buried a husband. How could this be so painful? But when you stop and think about it, your beloved pet, I mean, she was with me every single day of the 10 years that I rescued her, or she rescued me. I'm not sure which, right? So she helped me get out of bed in the morning after Pietro departed. She had to be walked, right? And so I still feel her today, Beverly. She's not gone from me. No. So it's a wonderful journey, and I like to help my dating divas who are out there looking for love in all the wrong places. And first and foremost, I assist them with helping them understand their value on this journey. And it's not about giving up independence, but there's fear that goes along with it, right? Who wants to be rejected? Who wants to give up their independence? I don't want to be told what to do. I mean, I hear the stories over and over. And I am there to help them find alignment, first and foremost, within. right? Because that's where the real love story begins. Okay. So, and when we do that, when we go out to date, we're looking for alignment. And boy, alignment is juicy and savory. And I don't give up my independence because I'm married to Jeffrey. In fact, I'm more independent today with him by my side. So we have a lot to discuss in our membership because it requires a little bit of a brain shift, doesn't it? We have stories that go on, and we've got these old stories, and I'm helping them release the old stories. Let's have new stories. How about that? Yeah.
I love all of that because even what you were talking about with the pet, you know, we go out and we get another pet, which reminds us we can love more than one.
Yes.
And so often I see people think that's all they're allowed to love instead of another man,
Yeah.
of another partner, because the partner's gone. So they think it's okay to go ahead and love this animal, but not another human. And I think it's wonderful. So, can you give us a tip, maybe? Like you talked about the alignment and you talked about having fun. Can you give us a little more tips on that?
Yes, I will. And I'm actually coming out with a very, very introductory video that will assist with this program. But the first step that I believe in 100%, follow to the letter of the law. People will pick up. So the interesting thing about, I'll answer that in 1 second, but the interesting thing about this book is that when I wrote it, I wasn't thinking ahead that I was going to have a dating membership and that I was going to be a dating coach. I was just documenting. So when I went back to my book to read it again, I started plucking all the nuggets out and putting them in a formula to assist women who are out there looking for love in all the wrong places, okay? So the very gold nugget, you can take notes on this, is I have the ABCs of dating with a bonus coming out, so we'll get that link. Otherwise, they can find it on my website, which is donnameador.com. But I will tell you, the most important thing for me was allowing the man who was interested in me to pursue me. Those were the men I chose from. I allowed them to pursue me. If I wasn't interested, that was okay. But I was not going out and picking and choosing. I was only picking and choosing from the ones who pursued me. I was only choosing from the ones who sought me out, who pursued me. This is going back to like the original, typical dating, right? I'm 66. My membership is full of mature women, right? Ranging from 35 to 85, right? So what I tell them is I'm independent, I can feed myself, I can support myself, but a man's inherent being is about supporting his family, about loving and protecting and supporting his family. That's his innate desire, his innate road. So if that's not happening, what's that about, right? So once we step back and go, okay, so why in the world would I want to choose a man who's not even looking at me, who's not even paying attention to me? Why in the world would I do that? So allowing only those who pursue us to ensue. In other words, I'm only choosing from those. That's a golden nugget right there, ladies. You can do it or not do it, but I'll tell you something. I found true love twice in a row. So I was treated like a queen. I was cherished. I'm still cherished. In fact, when I met Pietro, my desire, once I came to realize the method and what I was doing, I was very deliberate at that time. I wanted to find a husband. And so I really sat with myself and said, okay, what am I looking for? And I was looking for somebody who would cherish me. I was tired of being put on the back burner. I was tired of being second. But guess what? I was allowing it until I wasn't anymore. Okay, does that help?
Yes, I think that's great. And I've heard people talk about making lists of like the ideal mate. Do you do that? Because you talked about how you want to be cherished. And you had that on your, whether it was on a physical list or just a list in your head.
It was quite a process. Initially, before I came to terms with understanding what I wanted, I wrote a list of things I loved. It didn't have to be in a man. It just, what do I love? I love the color red. I love paisley. I love reading. I love, nature. So I started to write a list of all the things I loved. and then I went out dating, and I went through that journey, which I do write about in the book. And what was fascinating to me is one day after dating for a year and a half, which was equated to a lot of men because I was constantly out there because I wanted to get married. I was looking for love and marriage at that time. And when I got tired, when I finally took a breath and went, okay, what am I doing? Because I'm not meeting the men that are treating me the way I want to be treated. And it's just not working. So what is it I want? And when I sat down and almost went into a meditative state, I took the breath. What am I looking for? I heard the word to be cherished. I wanted to be cherished. I didn't feel like I was being cherished. And that's when Pietro showed up. And by the way, when I was ready to go back out dating again, and I reread my own book, I found at that time I was not looking for love and marriage. Unbeknownst to me, God and maybe Pietro too had other plans for me. But at that time, I was not looking for love and marriage. My heart was still broken, but I was ready to get back out into the dating world. And I did it again. And it's funny, it just kind of came to me. Oh, what do I want this time? Because I can have something different. I mean, I loved Pietro, but I'm 10 years older, more mature. I've got 10 more years of experience, 10 more years of wisdom, 10 more years of understanding. What would I like today? Oh, I want somebody with depth. I want a man I can converse with who understands intimacy in a way that is more than just surface level. So I never wrote the list of my ideal man. It just came out that way for me. So if that helps, if you want to write a list now, I will say I'm very deliberate. Again, you can take notes, lady. This is another nugget. Focus on what you want, not what you don't want. And I take that literally. That means I'm not going to sit here and say, well, I don't want to be treated poorly. I'm going to say, I want to be treated like gold. I'm not going to say, well, there's no good men out there. I'm going to say, wow, I want only the good men to come to me. I'm only picking from the great ones. So I take that literally, and I kind of talk about that in my book as well.
I love that. And because I really like, instead of having the list for the ideal man, because then you do tend to, when you meet somebody who's really cool, but he doesn't fit it, then you kind of push him aside.
Yeah.
And so I love that you, instead of doing that, you kind of sit and stop and think, what do I want? How do I want to be treated? I love that so much better than making this list, because so many people, when they make the list, what I've seen from friends and people I know that have made the list, it becomes very physical. But they don't think about how they want the man to treat them. I love that.
Yeah, because here's another tip for you, Beverly, and you're 100% on mark. Men are visual. Not all men appreciate this look. It's so funny on my YouTube channel I'm a dating coach for women. And I get men who pop up and they tell me they hate my hair and they think the hair has to go and they make comments. And then the other women, not me, I don't comment. They start saying, what's wrong with her hair? Would you say that to her if you met? They yell at them. It's hilarious. But this is a perfect example. If you can't handle the fact that I do this with my hair, you're not going to ask me out. And so I don't have to concern myself with that. Okay? But women, they think they're visual. And what I help them understand is you're not as visual as you think. You fall in love with the way you're being treated.
So true. So true. I think the visual may be a thing that makes us spot him. But again, if he doesn't show an interest, what good does that do? We might be looking at that really cute guy over there, but then this other gentleman is pulling out our chair and doing all this. Our focus is going to go from that guy over there to this guy here. Just like that. Our being visual doesn't last.
Correct. Correct. And neither does theirs if you don't treat them right. Because men want to be respected. They want to be held in high regard. And you know what? I love being that woman for my husband, Jeff. And I was that way for my husband, Peter. So, it's because it's not a one-way street.
Exactly.
Love is not an incurable disease. It can be cured.
I like that. I like that. Love can be cured. I love that. Well, let's see. I know you have a YouTube, so we'll put that link in there. We'll put the link to your book in there. I will put the link to your website in there. Are there any
Thank you.
other links where these women should find you?
My website will bring them to everything, so we don't have to break it up. But I do want to make one comment before we jump off. So my late husband had children. I never had any children of my own, and I got to experience a little bit what that was like. And it was very different with Pietro's kids. Obviously, they were older. He was 12 years older than me, so his kids were a little older. So they never really looked at me like, you know, a stepmother or anything like that, which was fine. I mean, I understood that, and they also, they had their own mother, and their parents got divorced, and so forth. But um, and then I meet Jeffrey, and his kids are a little bit younger, and they still have their mother, but I get to be a bonus mother with them. I get to treat them like my kids. That we have a really love relationship, and it's just fabulous to have that in my heart. And I say that because I also want to bring this up again because I said I would go full circle. What I love about your book, Beverly, is that you're helping us remember that these little gifts that we don't pay attention to can very well be monetary. When somebody buys them dinner, when they find, a quarter on the floor, when they are find a gift card in their drawer that's 2 years old. I mean, these are all little collectives that we take for granted. So I'm like, I love that because it helped me go, oh yeah, I've attracted monetary gifts in ways that I never took credit for. And I think we should take credit for that. So that's really cool. It's a wonderful gift, and thank you for sharing that. And I get to share that kind of stuff with my kids today. And they are my kids. I tell them they're my kids. They're in my will, and they're my family. And so I use a quote from my own mother, who used to pass great information along. I'd give them information, then I'd say, I report, you decide. And, planting seeds in their little hearts about things that I've picked up along the way. So thank you for that, Beverly, as well.
I love that. I report, you decide. That's wonderful. And thank you for the praise about my book. I love that.
Yeah.
'Cause there's so many things in there that kids can use,
Yeah.
of any age. And like you
Yes.
said, with your first husband, they were older. So you weren't stepmom. That's okay. I mean, you wouldn't want to try and raise a 30-year-old when you're 40, right?
No, I do not. I love when my kids come to me. They usually come to me when they're after 30 years old. So I bypass all the teenage years. I get to enjoy them now. I get to be a part of their life. And I know my place. And it's really funny. I'll give you another quote of my mother's. She'll live on forever through me as well as my other siblings. But when I called my mother to tell her that my stepdaughter was getting married, and it was only 2 years after Jeff and I had married, and I said, "Guess what, Mom? Guess what? Um, my daughter's getting married. I'm so excited." She says, "Well, you know what that means, don't you?" And I said, "No, what?" And she said, "Wear beige and keep your mouth shut." So now there's an ongoing joke in the family when they're asking me things. I go, "I'm wearing beige. I'm wearing beige," because I know my place. I am not their birth mother, but I want them to rest assured and feel safe in my arms as well. So it's an exciting place to be.
I think that's wonderful. So you're not only married to two husbands right now, to two men at the same time. You also have two families, and that's incredible. I mean, that to me is even that takes the whole dating experience in later years to a whole other level. That you're
Yeah.
not just bringing in one more person to love. You might be bringing in several more people to love, and the more love, the better, right?
Yes. So true.
Oh,
So true. Yeah. Well put.
that is so wonderful. And I also know that if people are not sure how much they are ready to date, they can also find you in Healing Millions, right?
Yes, Healing Millions is an incredible community. And that's a great place to start. They can go there, and you can drop your link there because it'll be easy access. Um, And then they have access to not just me and see what I'm about, but they can see what other healers are about and other supportive modalities that absolutely come to. And of course, you do. We all do two sessions a month, completely available to the people who are in that community, so they can pick and choose what programs they want to get in, or just stay doing that level. Like, and the other thing, Beverly, I want to tell you is that there's so many women out there, so many women I come across who do not want to date, and they're in their 40s, 50s, 60s, and higher. And I say that is the best time to learn when to date, because now you're not emotionally charged. So if you need to learn, it's the same thing with all the healing modalities, right? If you're not ready to start putting money aside for financial security in your later years, take baby steps to get a cat, because it's all about mindset. All of this is about mindset. So yeah, well said.
Yes, and I'm in Healing Millions also, and there's, like she said, there's about 10 of us, and
Yeah,
every session I've learned so much. I've learned so much from your sessions, and I think it's incredible. I know in the sessions because you've had 2 sessions thus far since we started, and I remember some of the younger girls, or younger women, I suppose, talking about online dating and how afraid they were of it, which fascinated me. I'm thinking, wait, they're in their 30s and 40s and they're worried, they're afraid of online dating. I figured they'd be the ones leaping into it.
yeah,
And
no,
I found that fascinating. So ladies, if you're out there and you're younger and you're thinking what's going to happen, it was so cool to hear that coming from them,
yeah,
because I know one was sounded like she was being catfished to me, and you called it out too.
yeah,
And that that worried me for her, because at first she didn't seem to be catching on to it, but you pointed it out to her, and I think she's realized it now. I mean, you pointed that
yeah,
out in the first session. So
yeah,
ladies, if you're looking and you're not sure, that's a
yeah,
great place to start,
yep.
and you're going to get a lot. But also, I think your membership is fairly inexpensive also, so they could jump in there.
Yeah, the membership for my Smart Dating Divas is 27 a month, and in January we're going up to 97. So anybody who gets in is going to be grandfathered in, absolutely. And it's just exciting because we're doing it. We just want to love on these women, help them understand the journey. It is scary. Like that's probably my number one complaint from women. I'm interviewing single women, and the number one complaint is they're afraid. And I get it because I was terrified, but then I learned the rules. So when people say I don't want to play the game, I say it's only because you don't know the rules. And once you know the rules, you're off and running.
Yeah, and the rules are not necessarily the same rules as they were back when the rules was written. Definitely not. And I think that's something that people our age, it's dating in high school is one thing. You've got a bunch of people around.
Yeah,
Dating when you are in college, okay, you still got a bunch of people around. As you get older, there's not. You think there's not as many around, but as you just said, you're going to show everybody where they are, because they are around if you're looking for them. If that's like you said, instead of saying there aren't any men around, there's a lot of amazing men around. Because
yeah,
we all know that when you focus on something, you see it. Pregnant
yeah,
women, see pregnant women everywhere. When I bought my yellow bug, I had to wait for it because they had to order it because they didn't want to flood the market with the same kind of car. I swear to God, every other car I saw was a yellow bug. So it's whatever you're focusing on, you're going to find.
yeah. And let's remember, a high school and college, you're typically out there for a husband and a father for your children. When we're back out there again, either through widow or divorce, or we focused on our career and now we're out dating in our 40s and higher, it's a whole different. You have to be deliberate. You should be deliberate. It's fun to be deliberate, I guess is what I really want to say. And so, yeah, it's a whole different ball game.
But I think if we had known those things even as teenagers to be deliberate, it would have been that would have been so much easier, instead of picking those ones that were going to, really not
Yeah.
just break your heart, but hurt you in other ways that made you maybe fearful later.
Right.
Because I think that happens too.
Yeah.
Because everything that's happened to us has happened for us, and sometimes it was to make us afraid. But now we have to change our lives.
Yeah, and that's why you're 100% correct. Healing Millions will help you release. We need to release the old stories. And
Yes,
we don't just wake up and go, okay, I don't want to tell that story anymore. No, it's embedded in our cells, right? So when we have healing, we can then move forward in a different light with a different story.
exactly. So the two things work together, I think, so well. So,
Yeah.
well, thank you. That went in different places than I intended for this to go in the beginning. Didn't think we were going to bring that up at all. But ladies, Donna's like she said, she's married to two men at the same time. One in the physical form, one who is gone to the other world. But he's still around, and
Yeah.
blesses not only Donna but also her current husband.
Yeah.
So
That awesome.
so much to learn. Get the book.
Yeah.
Check out her membership. Check her out on YouTube, and that'll give you some clues. And
All
check
right.
out her membership, and check out Healing Millions too. So we can just
Super.
all share in this because the more love in your life, the better, and the more you can heal, the better. Because when one person heals, everybody heals.
Everybody heals. Thank you, Beverly. Well
Thank you
said.
so much, Donna, for being here. This has been fantastic. Like I said, it was more than I anticipated, so this is great. I love your sessions in Healing Millions. Thank you so much.